The impact of the war in Iraq is felt beyond its borders, particularly amongst the diaspora Iraqi community. So how are they coping with the conflict? One Iraqi who fled the country just before the first Gulf War has displayed his feelings on canvas. Well, I'm very pleased to say that he's with me now, the Iraqi-British contemporary artist Athier. Athier, thanks very much for joining us. I'm well.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, very well. Very good.
Good to hear. You heard what Nahed was saying there about the level of violence in Iraq.
I know it. We all know it.
How do you feel when you hear that about your home country?
I mean, you know, there's nothing surprising. You watch this narrative play out, and it's. I mean, you just have to know that there's other ways of seeing it. You know, everything that Nahed just mentioned. I know my father's in Iraq right now. Like, everything that's happening is it is happening and it's very real. But I mean, you've got to process information in your own way. And you've got to, aside from the politics, you've got to know that you can focus on positive and kind of package your response in a different way. That's not to remove from the politics, but it's
find a different way. I mean,
you have to. Yeah.
How does what is happening in Iraq, the violence, the ongoing bloodshed, impact your work and what you do?
Well, I mean, you know, I left Iraq a time ago. We left on the cusp of the Gulf War. So for me, war is, well, Iraq essentially is, as a lot of people, it is for people, as it is for a lot of people in diaspora, it's almost more of a concept. It's this kind of center of gravity that defines you, but you can't even touch it. You don't, because I haven't been back in so long. So it's something you respond to in a kind of a primal way. And with the work, I mean, you'll obviously see it's very colourful. It looks completely at odds with the scenes of carnage that you've seen before. I mean, the scenes of entrapment, the scenes of fear, the scenes of carnage, like you had before, I weave them into my work. So, like, you can, then if you can see these pockets of details within the works, where there is all the kind of the very human, the very visceral fear that people are feeling, and you know, these kind of anger and emotions. But on the overall, I want the canvases to feel, you know, a sense of a hope, a sense of aspiration with the colour, you know. I mean, you kind of have to.
Let's have a look at one of your pieces on the screen and just explain to me what this is. Because like you said, it's quite at odds with what we see in Iraq. I was there last year, and you know, it's very barren, it's very dry, and it's also, there is a lot of you know, hurt and pain there. I mean, tell me what this is about.
Well, this one particularly is not about Iraq. This is about my experience of living in Lebanon. So, I mean, I could talk about this one or about the show.
Why don't you talk about some of the other ones that we showed that we had from Iraq? You know, the colours are so vibrant.
I mean, I guess this body of work I'm doing at the moment, it's about the parallel between the jellyfish and the drone, and it's, you know, which, you know, again, it's not directly political in what it is, but the parallel being that they're these two very aggressive forms, both with the ability to hunt and kill, but without any central brain governing them. And for me, you know, I've always been terrified of a world where kind of resourcefulness and efficiency replaces the guilt of warfare. So that's where the jellyfish parallel came into my work. So that's where all the new works are about. So they've all got a lot of hurt in them and a lot of carnage, but never in a direct way.
And not in a dark way. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. And of course, you can see Athier's work on display at the Edge of Arabia Gallery here in London later this month.